I am the Firestarter, the twisted Firestarter.
It's
Hey, what's up, horror fan baby? Me and the old Necro here, once again, to talk to you about what some might refer to as the greatest horror franchise of all time, and I know Necro agrees, Firestarter.
it's the best movie of all times.
Oh, shit, man. So, last night, if you didn't tune in for the watch party we hosted here on YouTube, I did a live reaction to the new Firestarter from Blumhouse Pictures. And oh my god, dude, what? I feel bad for every son of a bitch who moseyed into that live stream. Like, because not only was the movie horrible, but they had to sit there and watch me watch a horrible movie, man. Like,
Dude, I'm surprised you didn't have people like offing themselves in the middle of the movie. Like, I'm out. I can't do it anymore.
yeah, no shit, man. It was bad, dude. So, I guess we'll start with talking about the first movie or the book. The book I'm not that familiar with. Are you?
Well, I my remembrance of the book and the movie was the original movie, and the book are very close together. I mean, if you can read a synopsis of the two, and they kind of mirror each other very, very much. I mean, I look at it and I go, it's probably one of the few movies for him that have so closely mirrored the book that
Yeah.
you're probably good watching the movie and you know exactly what happens in the book.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's I've read most of his early stuff, but like Carrie, Salem's Lot, The Shining, Cujo, Dead Zone, it's one of those things where it's like Firestarter. For me, at least the way it was done in the movie, was very close to what he did in the original book.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm totally digging the background, man. So Firestarter-esque.
Oh, this is actually what it looks like. This is actually where I live.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thought so. But, yeah, I don't say anything. But, yeah, so the movie, which I'm definitely more familiar with, follows a father and daughter duo who both have these gnarly superpowers. The dad, at least in the original, the dad can do things with his mind. Like, he can push people to do what he wants them to do. And sort of control them. Think of like Professor Xavier or something from X-Men, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And then his daughter, Charlie, can start fires with her mind. But they are the product of a clinical trial gone wrong. So the father was part of a clinical trial where they were testing like this new hallucinogenic drug. And he meets a chick, which was Heather Locklear in the first movie. Yeah, he meets old Heather in the same clinical trial, and they hook up, and the product is their daughter, Charlie.
Pre-Tommy Lee, too. This is before she actually married Tommy Lee from Motley Crue.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Dragon Blues and Seto? Glad you were able to make it into the stream tonight, man. So, yeah, man, but old Heather doesn't have much screen time in this one because she gets wasted pretty early on.
Yeah.
And then it is the father and daughter duo running away from this, like, these secret agents and stuff like that. They're trying to capture him so they can experiment on him and then eventually use her as, like, a damn weapon of war.
Yeah, I mean, the first movie, it's flat out like The Fugitive, like with just they're already on the run. I mean, they're moving and
they're out of here.
Yeah, they're gone. And then a lot of the old stuff's told in flashbacks, whereas this new movie was told more linear. But yeah, it's interesting. As we go through, this first movie and then the new movie, we'll start to reflect back on some of his earlier work and what was going on with Stephen King during that time. Because I met his son and we had some good conversations about that. Very brief. I mean, I don't know the guy. We're not friends. He's not on my speed dial or anything like that. But but yeah, it's very interesting. You'll notice a good parallel between the two movies that have come out, and just what a passionate guy Stephen King deep down really is, especially
Yeah,
about
so
his kid.
yeah, that's something I definitely want to get into, man, because I want to talk about when Stephen King just said fuck it and sold his soul. But man, I rewatched the original movie in preparation for this, and yes, we'll get into the TV miniseries, which was Firestarter 2 Rekindled, but
Oh, we have to talk about it. It has some key elements that we all
oh
should talk
man,
about.
yeah, it
Yep.
needs to be brought to light.
Yep.
But man, like rewatching the original movie, I had forgotten just how dark it can be, man. Like with George C. Scott's character and everything, sort of like grooming Charlie.
Yep. Very creepy.
Yeah, and
Totally setting her up.
yeah, man, and the gaslighting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's much more methodical movie. It's like
yeah,
well thought out. Though no offense to George C. Scott, I love him, but I wanted to prop a beer on his belly during that movie. But that's just me being me. I love the guy.
yeah,
General Patton.
Well, man, you could tell the first one, people gave a shit. I mean, people cared about the movie they were making. And,
Yeah.
when I watched the new one, that was totally absent. There was no passion whatsoever in it. But the first movie, man, we get right into the action immediately.
Yep.
Charlie and Andy are running from these secret agent men or whatever, and they're just on the run the whole time, and they but dude, there's so many different levels to this movie, man. You feel bad for what happened to the family. Like I said, Heather Locklear doesn't make it very long, and then they run into the side characters, the kind farmer and his wife, who help Charlie and Andy while they're trying to hide from these men. And
I mean, but did you notice the word you used there? The kind family, the relationship he has with his wife. I mean, in a few scenes within the first movie, it is established that, and this doesn't happen in the new movie, where they're given the drug. The father looks over at the future mom, and he's not even speaking. And she's like, well, that's very sweet of you to say that. And it's like cluing you in to that she can read minds now because of the drug. And he had said something romantic about her hair. It was something like it looked like copper on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stuff like that. It's like, JK, Nurse Ratched was the farmer's wife. I love that somebody caught that. Good job, man. Because I was like, I know her from somewhere. She was not very good person at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, it... What just a heartwarming movie in places, man. And the relationship between Andy and Charlie was really key in that. And I gotta say, man, Drew Barrymore knocked it out of the park.
Oh, yeah. She was fresh off of doing E.T., just warming up everybody with how charming she could be. I mean, she's one of the few actresses that went through the child years and the struggles with drugs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, man, she's pulled out that. My wife watches her show and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, this does not show up in the second movie at all. I mean, it's like my 13-year-old still gives me a hug.
Mm-hmm.
It never shows up in the second movie. In fact, the dad, I mean, you probably count.
You're talking about the remake, right?
Yeah, the remake. But in the old one, I mean, think about it. She's what, 10, 11, maybe, and he's still picking her up. When he hugs her, he picks her up, and it's like because he knows how fragile she is. She's lost her mom. They're on the run, and instead of being afraid of her and coddling her with everything, it's just he's so direct with her and not afraid to touch her.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Yeah, man. The relationship is just spot on. It's heartwarming. They really care about each other, and you can see that throughout the. I mean, for the entirety of the film, you get that sense, man.
And then you mentioned it too with the family that they meet.
Yeah, the family gave a shit, dude. That was, I mean, it makes you. It gives you goosebumps, because it's so heartwarming when these Secret Service dudes are coming, and the farmer is like, "I'll stand with you. Let me get my deer rifle," and it's like, man,
I mean, you grew up in this part of the country. I moved to here, like in South Carolina. You're in West Virginia. I mean, It's just where people are genuine. It's like we're gonna take your word for it unless you prove yourself wrong.
Yeah, man. It was so heartwarming to see that. Just he just met these people and he's willing to go out there and kill or die with them. And that ends up being Charlie's salvation at the end of the movie. Is this kind farmer couple, but man, this also kind of brings up one problem I did have with the movie, and it's like continuity. Because Drew Barrymore, Charlie, can sense these agents when they're near them, when they're coming around, specifically when they're at the farmer's house. She's like, "Daddy, they're coming," and they're not even in eyesight yet.
Yeah.
But she can sense their presence. But they totally disregard that ability halfway through the movie.
Well, with Rainbird, he's hanging out in the tree. I mean, he's like, what, 100 yards away from where they're at?
If that, yeah. So Rainbird, George C. Scott, when, he sets out to capture Charlie and Andy and bring them in, he is setting up in the woods with a gun that can shoot tranquilizer darts at Charlie and her father in hopes of catching them. And Charlie just comes out, man, trotting along. Doesn't sense a damn thing.
Yeah.
Neither does her dad, which is fair. They haven't, implied that he has this ability. But after Rainbird darts both of them, a shit ton of Secret Service dudes come out of the woods in their fire retardant suits. So even if, for whatever reason, if, like, she couldn't sense Rainbird, because you get, like, he's this special elite operative kind of dude, even if she couldn't sense him, she should have been able to sense the other servicemen.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's, both movies have that flaw with Rainbird. Mm-hmm. And, the ending of the new one, really, you're just kind of messed up with it. I mean, both movies probably needed to spend 10 minutes with this character to show that this Rainbird character was special himself. Yeah. Not just a bad guy, not just a guy who's trying to manipulate the situation, not just something that he's I'm trying to think it that he's just a cardboard cutout. They needed to make him as deep as her.
Yeah.
And the dad. Like, almost like he had powers, but I mean, because John Rainbird, I mean, I think with George C. Scott, they made him with tan skin. In the new movie, he's got a bunch of tattoos on him. It's like, go with it that this guy is an intuitive mystic or something. Mm-hmm. I mean, give the guy a backstory that lends itself to having a connection to her, and they just don't. Both movies really fail with this character.
Believe it or not, I actually liked Rainbird in the original, man, but because of he's so memorable and you love to hate him. Like, he is a real, I mean, and it almost works on you because he's so good at it with the grooming stuff. Yeah. Man, it's like, oh my God, man, you're hoping that at some point he's going to just turn and be like, screw it, I'm going to help Charlie, which he never does. He has this belief that after this company is finished with Charlie, he's going to kill her and look into her eyes at the moment she dies, so that way maybe he can be in possession of her powers in the afterlife. Which is just creepy as hell, man. Like,
yeah,
he's fucking out there.
And they don't even explain that, too. I mean, they don't. I mean, that's the problem that is in both of these movies. That look, we watch a lot of horror movies, and they tend to show you in some movies in the first 10 minutes of a movie, like an opening movie. Hey, look, bad stuff's going to happen. If the heroes fail, this is what's going to happen. And they show you like that initial death sequence, this initial bad thing. They needed to give this character a scene like that at the beginning of the movie of like, if they fail to protect Charlie, this is what could happen. And I think that would have solved this character's problem in both movies. Like, he's going to absorb their powers. He's going to, elevate his existence in some manner. And I think they dropped it. I think they focused on the other characters too much.
What did you think about the effects in Firestarter? Because the original came out in '84, I think. And you almost expect a movie like that, where you have a little girl manipulating fire and even throwing around fireballs and stuff, man. You almost expect the effects to be horrible because of how old that movie is. Like, it was,
so
they
we're
were pretty
talking
limited.
The 1984 version. Was it Seto? Yeah. I see this question about the suspense thriller than straight horror. I enjoyed the first movie's animation. I mean, the cool thing about fire, and special effects is, look, fire has been used throughout the centuries of like as effects for magicians, for anything else.
Yeah,
and so in a movie, I actually enjoyed the first movie's effects really well. Yeah. I sat there and it was just, I was talking to my woman about it. It was just like, man, I just love the fact that they just went for it at the end of the movie. Like, just blow all this shit up.
Yeah.
Hey, look, this guy's got sympathy on his face. Oh, please don't burn me. And she's like, nope, you're
done,
dying.
bitch.
Everybody's burning up. Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. All you people out there who don't want to hear that. But I see the question out there about suspense thriller versus straight horror. I do agree. The first movie is definitely a suspense thriller relative to the new movie where they were going for it with the horror. And yeah. I can't wait to hear what Bojangles has to say about the hood.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, that was so wow, so cringy. But yeah, man, I'm with you on the special effects, dude. The special effects in the original were badass. There were, maybe a moment or two where they were a little lackluster, but yeah, the finale at the end of the movie when she's shooting fireballs and blowing stuff up, absolutely crazy. It went nuts. It was beautiful. It really was a finale, and I love, she shoots a fireball at one dude and you just see his burning corpse fly into the trees. Like, it's so badass.
What's funny is too, like, I mean, for any of the guys out in the channel, I'm like, can you even look at a blonde and just wonder at the fact that there might be a fan around that's going to blow their hair back and you're going to get set on fire if you piss them off? I mean, it's finally a movie where, the blondes aren't insulted. It's like, oh, it's the dumb blonde. Like, don't piss this blonde off, because if you see that wind tunnel thing that's going to blow her hair back, you're dead.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
piss
game
her off,
over,
man.
baby. Yeah.
Look, You got to just lean into the respect there. It's like, I ain't messing with you. You're totally in the right. You do what you want.
So, dude, yeah. So, I mean, we both like the original movie a good bit. Is that fair to say?
For sure.
Yeah, same, man. So, good times. Now, what was it in the early 2000s? They did a TV miniseries, Firestarter 2, Rekindled.
And we get sexy time there too, yeah.
Yeah, which is wow. Okay, so this one stars like Danny Nucci, and I can't even remember who the hell else is in the son of a bitch. Is it like Dennis Hopper in there or something? I don't know.
Look, if it was in the early 2000s, Dennis Hopper and Malcolm McDowell were in it.
Yeah. So yeah, man, and you get the chick in it. You may remember her from Queen of the Damned or Connie Moreau for us Mighty Ducks fans out there. But man, so this show starts off and they like retcon. This is supposed to be a sequel. Well, they retcon stuff they did in the first movie, man.
Yeah.
It's like they take away all of the emotional impact in the first movie in favor of shit that looks like it's from like a Fast and Furious movie. Like there's guys with guns kicking doors down, shooting her mom. Like,
yeah. Let's just go for it,
Yeah. And then it's like I can't remember it all that well. I didn't watch all that much of it. I mean, it's that good. But dude, the special effects, I remember when they tried to do like boiling water on the concrete or some shit.
They had me at that. Anytime she gets aroused, she wants to burn stuff.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just like, I'm good with that. You go ahead, just burn the crap. Where are you going?
Yeah, she's like it follows Charlie again, but she's like all horned up. She is sexually frustrated, as it were. But every time she wants to get down with it, she like starts catching shit on fire.
It's just how it happens, man.
That's yeah. So and then you have Danny Nucci's character. I don't even know what the hell he's doing. If like he's an insurance man but for some reason he's like researching past events involving her. And so they deal with like a shit ton of flashbacks. Like we already know who this character is. We don't need the explanation again. You sons of bitches. Like I feel like they almost did that just so they could make it a two-parter.
No, agree. I mean, when I watched it, I was like, why are they telling this story over again? I mean, it's like if you're watching this movie, you've seen the other movie. Don't do that. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but and then they like retcon stuff, and they wouldn't have needed to. I don't know, man. Garbage from what I saw. Any thoughts on Firestarter 2 Rekindled?
Anybody out in the chat think anything worth this miniseries at all?
Yeah, but it was terrible. I would not advise it. You can watch it right now on Peacock with ads. It was a TV miniseries, and it's just pointless.
The ads might be more entertaining.
Yeah, there you go. But let's see. Speaking of Peacock, so yesterday, Firestarter 2022 made its big screen debut in theaters and on Peacock. And I hosted a watch party for this movie so everyone could get a live reaction to my thoughts as they occurred, as I watched the film. And holy shit, dude, that made for the most boring, dull, drag-ass live stream I have ever done.
You know what we needed, though? We needed Briggs to take his shirt off.
We did.
We should have had Briggs just show up and, like, every time we were bored, he undoes a button or something,
Yeah, he should have been, man, he's just, Briggs doesn't have the balls for Firestarter 22, man. You know, he doesn't have the testicular fortitude for stuff like that, dude. He had to peace out.
Nah, it's so funny.
Yeah, man. So Firestarter 22 follows the same basic plot. It's just they undo everything that's good about the original in favor of fucking a nihilistic viewpoint. I don't know, man.
I mean, I don't know that our time period now is really like seeking this dark aspect of it. I mean, it's like this should have been like a 90s movie or something like that. It was like there's no hope, there's no love, there's no anything from what I mean, me reading into Stephen King's earlier works. It's just nothing. It's totally devoid of what he had wanted from this from his work, from the first movie and his book. I mean, the people she's supposed to end up with at the end of the book and the movie is the guy shot in the leg. You know, they're totally distrusting. There's no love there at all. I mean, the dad is more like the dad from the movie Frozen. Like, we got to protect her, keep it down, you know, hide that. And that's why it's you know, and we can get into this a little bit later, is just about talking about his earlier works and what he was going through during his life. And how much he loved his kid and how much he loved his family during this. And like from the first movie, even the husband and wife get to share a moment without the girl, without their kid there, of how deeply they love each other. And that's just not in the movie at all. This is all just a rampage of let's get through this.
So in the Firestarter remake, you don't get the sense that any of these people give a shit about each other. No. Like, the parents are fighting, they have different views on how their daughters should be raised. The daughter herself is conflicted as hell. You know, she's going to school and and dude, like, her home life sucks, her school life sucks because she's being bullied. And once again, you have these Secret Service people, you know, and Rainbird is just wasted totally in this movie. You know, like we talked about, I mean, he is just flat out typical horror boogeyman. You know, he's sitting around shirtless in a fucking basement somewhere with tattoos covering his back and just...
Kind of like usually how I spend my days. But, I mean, it's really weird because they set something up as like there's something more to this guy. I mean, at one point, even the shop arrests him. Like, you're not following what we want you to do. Yeah. And that's what's frustrating. It's like, give us 10 minutes. Give this guy 10 minutes. Make us give a shit about this guy. I mean, in the first movie, total bad guy. This guy is the creepo of all creepos.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Jonas? And then in this movie, you start to get into more of the mysticism. He's, like you said, he's got the tattoos all over his body. There's something else going on with this guy, but they don't explore it. They're just like...
And you don't give a fuck. You don't care. Yeah. I mean, because he's so typical, man. I mean, he looks like a villain from... Now, this is Firestarter 2022, and it looks like they pulled him from a Rob Zombie movie.
You know, Doomhead.
Yeah, he looks like Doomhead or something. So, you know, they do that, man. Then the farm couple they run into are total downers. You know, the farm, you know, the dude is totally, you know, not trusting of them, and then he's an alcoholic. His wife is laid up in bed, and she's trapped in her own mind. You know, it turns out he wrecked and, you know, turned his wife into an invalid and killed their child. Just, it's dark everywhere you go, man, and it's like, for what fucking purpose, though?
Even in the lighting, Someone had mentioned too, while they were in the gym, and they're like, "Why aren't the lights on in this gym?"
Yeah,
And
that was Anna, man. The whole
it's
fucking movie
Dragon
is
Blues.
dark.
Yeah. So check this out. So Dragon Blues points out that the lighting is shit in this gym, and then look. If you're not going to light up something, don't show the fact that there's lights that could have been turned on. The cameraman points the camera up. You see the fluorescence at the top, and they're not on.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Because everyone's going to be looking up and going, why aren't the fluorescents on? Turn the freaking lights on. I mean, unless they're saving power for some reason. I mean, it didn't make any sense. It's like, oh, we need this scene to be really dark.
Every fucking scene in the movie was dark, dude. Like, I think it was the scene when he and Charlie return home and the bad dude, Rainbird, has already killed the wife. When they walk into the damn house, you can't see anything.
They light some candles and some stuff, you know?
Yeah, man, it was so dark. And then, there's a scene where they kill a cat, which,
Ooh, wait, go ahead.
Which I'm just saying, man. Like the killing the cat doesn't bother me. Like if it was for a fucking reason, a purpose, but
it bothered one of the viewers though. They were like, "I'm out. Cat's dead."
yeah. The viewers didn't like, but to me, it's like if you're going to do have a purpose for it. If and that's this whole movie in a nutshell. None of it served any point at all.
And that's what you get though with the new movie. Usually, if an animal dies in the first 15 to 30 minutes of the movie, it's an indication for the rest of the audience anybody can die in this movie.
Yeah,
it's going to be a dark movie. This happens, and I was talking about it with my kids earlier today. Hey, look, if you get scratched by a cat, are you going to instantly go full rage and be like, "Fuck you, cat! I'm going to burn you"?
Yeah.
And they're like, no. All of them were like, no. I'd be like, Mom, this cat scratched me.
Yeah.
Their purpose in this movie was to make her dark. And one of the people in the chat had mentioned this. The first movie was like a suspense thriller. They were leaning heavy in this movie to try and make it a horror movie. And by making her dark, making her like gonna go full evil, use all her powers. I'll let you decide when you want to talk about the ending of the movie, but it's one of those situations where, they're trying to show this movie is a dark horror movie. It's not a suspense thriller, and she is vindicated and right to be as dark as she is.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's so fucking generic. Like, they get to the end, and then the finale is totally neutered. She pulls her hood up like she's fucking Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3.
Or
she's bad now.
Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, man. And then you get... Necro got that drink, Jonas. I got the water, bro.
I got all the drink.
Hell yeah, he does. But man, dude, and then at the end, you're like, okay, there's no way it can follow suit of the original where she goes back and lives with the happy farm couple. So what we get instead is she befriends the man who killed her fucking mom at the beginning of the movie. An hour ago, we watched this dude just kill her mom, stuff her in a closet, and all that, and now... they're besties. They're cool. They walk off into the sunset together. It's like, man.
I missed this part. When we were watching the movie last night, Rainbird gets arrested. And yet he was sent out to go get these people. And then randomly he's arrested and told by the shop, what you did was wrong. We don't like that.
Yeah.
Why was that? I don't remember.
I don't either. I really don't. It's like,
Hell,
it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, because what they're trying to set they were trying to set us up as an audience purposely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna close some of this up. They were trying to set us up that the shop and Rainbird are disconnected,
Mm-hmm.
and which tries to feed into, oh, he killed cops. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, Missy JoJo. It's
Yeah.
called to keep it on the down low.
Yeah.
Thank God Missy JoJo showed up. She liked the movie up until the end.
Yeah, the end totally ruined it for her, but man, yeah, just
but to me it was a deeper meaning. It was setting up so Rainbird could be there for Charlie at the end. It was to show that Rainbird and Charlie were both not liked by the shop, and so that they could be buddies at the end.
Yeah. Trash ass ending, man.
It's like, whatever.
Yeah, terrible movie, dude. So that's, I give it a 2 out of 10 as far as my rating goes. That's where I'm at on it. It's barely a movie.
But what did you think about, we talked earlier about the CG. What did you think about the CG relative to the old movie? Or the fire? I don't know, there was a lot of CG. There might not have been. Yeah,
man, there was actually like an impressive moment with some of the fire effects in the new Firestarter, but there were also some bad moments with some of the effects, man, that were just really cheesy. The contact lenses are definitely one of those moments.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, the contacts, man.
Here's the other thing is too, for our studio audience, we've gone 37 minutes and haven't mentioned the fact that Zac Efron took his shirt off within the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Within the first 5 minutes. It was like 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Zac Efron's running around shirtless already.
I mean, thank God that for this podcast, I probably put on like 5 to 10 pounds, because man, good for him. I've had so many carbs over the last few days. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this righteously if I can't take my top off. It's just like, good for him. Man. Yeah. I mean,
he's all business all the time, dude.
Yeah, but I do like the way that he goes out in this movie is, hey, just set me on fire. Just burn me up, because there's nothing redeeming about this movie. I am the movie. Just burn me up. The moment he burns up, the movie's over.
Yeah, there we go. Man, so at what point do you think Stephen King legitimately sold his soul?
I think he probably admitted that he sold his soul like right off the bat. I mean,
but I mean, he used to have integrity. He wanted his movies to be adapted faithfully.
The moment he did sequels, the moment he started doing sequels in, I'm looking at. Hold on, I'll look it up right now. Because remember, he had that alter ego Richard Bachman too. Pet Sematary 2. I mean, but some of the movies though, I don't know that he did that. I mean, all right, so we're starting to get it. We're starting to get into his novels and stuff right now. So for the audience, the only movie that this guy has ever bought the rights back to, of where he owns them outright, at least this is my remembrance over the last 10 years, because I stayed at the Stanley Hotel where he went and was inspired to do The Shining. The only book where he bought the rights back to was The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
Comparing The Shining and Firestarter. Firestarter was 1980. The Shining was 1977. You have this deep love of a dad for his child. The Shining, though, for him was the closest to his reality that he had ever experienced. And, he moved from the East Coast, came over to Boulder, went up to, went up to the Stanley Hotel, did The Shining, and so you have this sequence of where The Shining is his story. To me, the next story after that, where I would say it's probably the more personal after that, is Firestarter, because you see how much he focuses on the dad loving the child. That he's willing to give up everything he possibly can for this kid. And, I mean, we talked about this when we were talking about The Crow, is not all the time do we have a sequence of events that leads to a dad giving up everything for their kid. Stephen King does that. In other things, you see a mother. I mean, this is where we talked about the next Crow movie should be a mom, being the Crow and doing everything. Stephen King in The Shining and in Firestarter provides dads that model of, I'll do anything for my kid. Anybody who hasn't read The Shining and yet has only seen the movie, you only know part of the story. In the Shining book, Jack Torrance actually kills himself at the end of the book to protect Danny. I mean, it's so far that he's being possessed, he's being overwhelmed by all these mystical things and willing to give up everything for his kid. It's the same thing in Firestarter. So, I mean, I've never talked to Stephen King, but if I had to look at his early works and going through what a dad is willing to do for his kid, those two works are connected in that way. As Firestarter and The Shining are, just this symbol of what a dad, even though a dad is flawed and has all these problems because, hey, we're guys, is this thing of like, we'll do anything that we can to make sure that our kid has the best outcome ever. So, out of those two movies, that's where I would say that he leans on that. I mean, Stephen King to me jumps the shark. Going back to what you were asking the question for is just when he starts getting into like Needful Things, Pet Sematary, Thinner. He starts to recognize what his audience wants. It's like, you guys want me to go full dark and just have a lot of fun with it, and but still he starts to get lost in like Stand By Me and like The Green Mile and stuff like that. But for me, Stephen King starts to jump the shark when he starts recognizing that he knows what people want from him, and he starts to give it to them.
So when did The Lawnmower Man come out?
Okay, so The Lawnmower Man was actually a short story. It had nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah, that's why I meant the movie. Do you know when the movie came out?
The movie came out in 1992. I actually went to an advanced screening of that movie. That's funny that you mentioned that. I know you didn't even know that I had gone to that.
Jeez.
Yeah, there you go. So I went to an advanced screening of that with my Uncle Eric, who's passed. But we saw that movie, and the Lawnmower Man movie has nothing to do with the short story whatsoever.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I know that he actually sued to have his name removed from the movie.
He did, because it doesn't. It has nothing to do with the story whatsoever. I read the short story when, not when it came out, because I was in 1975. I wasn't even born.
Yeah.
Since I'm so young and handsome. But no, it had nothing to do with it. But I mean, it's one of those things. It's like they start taking his products and giving what they think is the audience what they need. He runs into the same problems in the 90s that we ran into with Dimension Films and everything else. It's like we start getting Children of the Corn 2, The Mangler, Children of the Corn 3.
Oh my God, The Mangler.
Lawnmower Man 2.
Yeah.
Children of the Corn 4. I mean, some of those movies are really fun, but they're not what he is. I mean, like I said, I've never met the guy. He's from Maine. I have a good buddy who's from Maine, but That's about it. I
Yeah.
don't know anything else more about the guy.
Yeah, it just seems like, man, that at least, he cared at one point. Like, if shit went really bad off the rails, like the Lawnmower Man, I mean, he at least sued to get that one back. You know what I'm saying? But it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sakes, he bitched about Stanley Kubrick so bad, and still bitches about Stanley Kubrick, and that movie is definitely superior to the miniseries in my opinion. And it's like, he bitched so much about that movie and whines about it, and then now we get shit like Firestar. I mean, for God's sakes, he sold out to Blumhouse. Like,
And know that he sold out to Blumhouse. I mean, we would have to look at where the money's flowing to. It's like I said, he only owns the rights up until my memory of it. He only owns the rights to The Shining.
yeah.
And
But
I'm looking at Children of the Corn 666 Isaac's Return.
Isaac's Return, yeah, fuck yeah. But no, man, I'm saying, like, he's very vocal about these things anyway. It's like when it was coming out, I mean, his ass couldn't stay off of Twitter, and was just constantly pumping it up, and
but see, you mentioned The Shining though. So The Shining though is a very personal story for him.
yeah.
I mean, he was a recovering alcoholic at the time, went up to the Stanley Hotel.
Yeah.
Totally recommend that for anybody who goes up there. I mean, with Stephen King and fighting for this, I mean, I hope anybody who has watched The Shining, read the book. Read the book and you will understand why he hates the movie. I mean, Kubrick almost deliberately changed everything about the characters in the movie. He makes the wife this wimpy character. In the book, she's very strong. She's very much not full, just like not taking any of Jack's shit, of where he's a total dickhead and just like slamming him down. Even to the hair color in the movie, she's got black hair. In the movie, I mean, in the book, she's got blonde hair. The kid in the movie is kind of like some kid with ADHD or something, just kind of disconnected. The kid in the book is super smart, intuitive to what's going on with the dad. Yeah. I mean, there's such it's almost like he took the mirror of it and flipped it on itself and just made a mess of it. Read Dr. Sleep. I mean, I'm gonna ruin it for you guys. Jack shows up at the end of Dr. Sleep and saves his son yet again. And it's one of those stories where anybody who's had a problem with alcohol, hold on, alcohol.
Yeah, there you go.
Anybody who's had a problem with alcohol, knowing what it can do to an individual, your family, anything else, it's a very personal story, and it's such a dark place to go, and there's so much missing from the first and second books about The Shining, but you can tell deep down that Stephen King in Firestarter, in The Shining, loves his family more than anything else, is willing to give up everything he is just for them. And so, yeah, I look at this and go, there's a disconnect between the movies that you guys see and the books that you read. So, yeah. Stephen King, my mom had told me when I was growing up, it's like, you can tell he's been abused and beat up as a kid. It's like, yeah, everybody has in some way. But just you guys got to explore this a little bit. When you see a Stephen King movie, read the book, dig into it a little bit. There's more there.
Yeah, it's just that, I know with like, the Pet Sematary remake, he was all about it and how great it was. And I know with, and that's what a fucking trash movie. Huh?
With Edward Furlong?
No, Pet Sematary, the remake.
Mm.
You know, he was all about that shit, you know, all up its ass. And
I like the ending.
oh God, I hated that whole fucking
I
movie.
know you
Like,
did. I know you did. But I
but
love the ending because they all end up together. It's
oh, so trash. But it's like, and you know, like, so I mean, he's still connected to these movies, whether he owns the rights to them or not, and pumps them up or doesn't. And it's like, you know, it's like he used to be vocal if he didn't like something and would talk shit, sue for the rights back, fucking, you know, throw a tantrum. And now it's just like, oh man, you know, Jason Blum, you did so good. You're so great at what you do, Jason Blum.
did he?
Nah, I don't think he said
Oh,
that. But I
oh
mean, you
well,
know, that's him now. It's like he is finally, man. You know, he's like he's just lost all integrity. He's like, ah, fuck it.
yeah,
I don't care what people do with the movies anymore. I think.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, he should have thrown a fit when the Dark Tower came out. The Dark Tower movie. He should have
Yeah.
been like burning everything down. He should have like hired this girl to burn everything down right now because I was just like, hey, can you just burn the world after this? Because
Yeah.
I took my oldest son to go see The Dark Tower.
Yeah.
And he told me, he's like, Dad, I really want to see this movie. I gotta go see The Dark Tower.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna go see it. I've read all the books.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see it. Oh my God. It's so terrible. And you know, it's just like Stephen King has become like a Wheaties box of Lucky Charms and all these other things, and
Yeah.
it's sad because you know the guy's talented. I mean, he might as well set himself on fire or something, like just to prove the point, like, hey, my works were good. I just don't get it. Oh my
Yeah.
God, Jason Blum is the Michael Bay of horror. Yeah, I said what I said. Oh my God. Thank
JK,
you.
man. JK, dude, I went and watched the damn Pet Cemetery remake. And I took my little cousin with me. Oh man. Oh man, what a day, dude. Like,
Yeah, thank God I saw it for free.
dude, that movie was a spit in the absolute face the whole time. And then the shit cherry on top of the shit cake was when credits roll and they remade Ramone's Pet Cemetery with an all-female band as shittily as they possibly could. It was like, of course they fucking did. Like, of course they would remake that song. It's absolutely horrible, man. So I took my cousin out of the theater and I'm like, dude, we're going to go watch the original and you can see what an actual movie film looks like. And of course, he much preferred the original to that Pet Cemetery bullshit remake we got, man. That was just absolutely soulless. And they changed shit around just to, yeah, man. Terrible fucking movie. I will never forgive Stephen King for that.
I just don't think he cares anymore.
No, he doesn't care.
No.
He's like John Carpenter, man. Like, Carpenter used to be, like, he was, like, the most vocal about it. He hated Hollywood. He hated everybody. He hates everything. You've ruined his fucking movies, his legacy, everything. He hates it. Stop. And now he's like, fuck it. Do what you want.
Point, you can't even fight it. I mean, it's just they either cross own like the music or the story or something. I mean, it's like when we were watching the movie last night, I'm like, I kind of want to listen to the music from the new Firestarter without seeing the movie because John Carpenter is involved. And the original Firestarter movie, they had talked about John Carpenter actually directing it, but they hired Tangerine Dream to do the music.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, it's such a mess. It's just the whole thing.
Oh, Dragon Blue's a member for 20 months. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Dragon Blue.
Yeah, Dragon Blues. Well, yeah, man. Stephen King's had it. John Carpenter's had it. They just, these people just don't care anymore. And, it just sucks when you see them like pump that shit up, like patting people on the damn back for terrible products, and that you secretly know, like, man, these motherfuckers, they don't support, 10 years ago, John Carpenter would have called Jason Blum a fucking piece of shit instead of Rob Zombie. You know what I'm saying? Oh my god. Look at that. Look at that Bushmills.
Bushmills Blue.
Yeah.
12-year-old Irish whiskey. There you go, Jonas. Just for you.
Yeah, Jonas. Gotta get that drink flowing, baby. But yeah, man, like if anybody has any comments, questions, or anything like that, we're coming to the end of the stream. We're hitting our hour. Now is the time.
Yeah, we knew we were going to cut it off at the hour because
it's Firestarter. It's there's one good fucking movie to talk about.
I mean, to be honest, we had joked around about this beforehand. It was like, should I wear a Hawaiian shirt and start twirling fire around like Jason Momoa? I mean, look, I ain't sucking in this weekend. That's next weekend. But
yeah, dude, we're going to have to get you on a weight cut. You're just going to have to show up topless next time. Yeah. His ass is going to be like Charles Oliveira in here. We're going to have to put him on the scale.
Start slapping people in the face.
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, so we did a fire. This is how much we love you people. We did a Firestarter stream. How about that?
On the weekend it came out.
Yeah. Oh, my God. This is when when you're dealing with true horror fans. Ones that will sit here and talk about this shit.
No doubt, man.
Oh, man. But alright, dude, I guess no questions. I guess we're not getting any questions. Yes, thank you, Dragon Blues. So Missy Jojo has a question for you, Necro. Did John have powers in the book? Yes,
everybody had powers in the book. I'm just going to say yes because I don't know. I mean, you're asking a demented old man about a book you read 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I love your side photo, though. Are you that hot in person?
Oh, God. Uh-oh.
Hold on. I'm gonna flirt with this blonde girl. We get some blonde. Get some wind blowing in your hair, Missy Jojo.
Oh. Bye, man. I guess that's it for tonight's live stream. I'd like to thank every single one of y'all for coming in, and Necro for being my co-host for this evening. Hell yeah, man. Until next week. We have to come up with a better topic to discuss, man. Like, so if there's any topic suggestions out there, y'all let us know.
Let's ask these people actually give a shit. What do you guys want us to talk about next week?
Let's see. What's the best Stephen King book?
It's The Shining. It's not a doubt.
The Shining?
I've read 20 of them. It's The Shining. JK, you can reach out to me privately. We'll talk more about it if you want to, but it's The Shining. I've read so many of them, and especially from going to the Stanley, talking to his son, talking about that, it's The Shining. If you're going to read a Stephen King book, read The Shining, because it's the most personal story he's ever done.
Okay, Seto says, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Jonas, love to see you too, man. Glad you could make it, brother.
JK, I love The Stand. I wish I could get my kids to read it. It's 1,200 pages long. Friggin' great book. Nightmare on Elm Street, look at her and how the sequel's got... She said, look, Missy Jojo, you gone all blonde on us? Stephen King did not do Nightmare on Elm Street. Someone take a beer or whatever she's drinking out of her hand.
Oh well,
Stephen King did not do Nightmare on Elm Street.
I think she's saying for next week that she wants us to discuss the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Okay.
Yeah, I could dress up like that. I could do that.
Yeah, there we go. I have Freddy on the stream, baby.
Oh, there she goes.
Yep. There you go. Get your kids The Stand on Audible.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, man. Make them listen to it.
While they're sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to listen to this shit and you're going to love it. All right, man. Thank y'all for coming in. Until next week. Look horror. Listen horror. Talk horror.
Horror.
Yeah.
All right.